Well, Carolyn, boding well for Russian businesses. S&P has recently upgraded its outlook on Russia and a number of Russian financial institutions on the back of significantly abated external risks. Jeff is in Moscow with the CEO of Sistema. Hi, Jeff.
Yes, hi, very good morning to you. And of course, we've been here all week just having another look at how Russian business is faring, given that the expectations are that this economy may print a positive growth rate for the third quarter, in fact, may deliver full-year growth in 2017 after, quite frankly, 2 miserable years as the sanctions regime imposed by the West has bitten on the economy. But I have a great man to talk to about where the potential is in this economy. Mikhail Shamalin is with me from the Sistema Group. This is an investment conglomerate. Some have compared it to Russia's GE. Thank you for joining us here.
So
I'm here in front of a body scanner. This is one of your hospitals. Tell us a little bit more about why this hospital is special as part of your medical group.
Well, it's a brand new building. It's almost 23,000 square meters. It's fully equipped with the latest standard equipment, and this is one of the pieces that you're looking at. It's got 2 best quality operating theaters that you can find in Moscow. It has around 30 beds, and we'll have about 400 doctors when it is fully equipped and able to service around 1,300 patients a day.
What do you think the potential growth rates are for this business within the Sistema Group? Right now, if you look at the group operations, it's a tiny contributor to revenue. But obviously, you feel it's important to be in this sector.
Yeah, we believe it is double-digit growth potential, and we believe multiple billions of market cap is possible to build in the private medical care business in Russia. Basically 2 reasons. One reason, just give you one example, about 100,000 Muscovites, people from Moscow area, have gone abroad, getting treatments abroad in places like Germany, Switzerland, United States, Israel, and have taken, on estimate, 2 to 4 billion US dollars with them.
All right, we just seem to have some slight technical difficulties. We'll just try to restore that and cross back out to Jeff if we can. On top of that also, let me just mention on a programming note that we will be keeping the central bank ball rolling with an exclusive interview with the governor of the Central Bank of Russia, Elvira Nabiullina. Jeff will be bringing us that interview tomorrow at 9 o'clock CET. So
I think we've reestablished that line.
we have.
Let's go back out to Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much. Technology can be very irritating sometimes, can't it? But I tell you what we're going to do. Instead of remaining stationary, because it could be the body scanner that is affecting the signal, we're going to go for a little walk, and we'll show you a little bit more about the hospital with Mr. Shamalin, and we'll talk some more about where the opportunities are in this economy. So this medical facility and the hospital is one part of the business, but I think people will better know the group from MTS, the telecommunications company. This is what, about 60% or so of the business? What do you think the outlook is in that segment, given how competitive mobile telephony is, even in this marketplace?
Well, mobile telephony globally has been kind of a stable, slightly stagnating business over the years. But the strengths of MTS that we have here in Russia, number one is very strong management team that we're able to build over the years. And this management team has been able to maintain leadership of MTS despite all the competitive pressures that we have experienced over the years.
Let's go in this room, because I know that we have an X-ray scanner in here, which might be interesting for the audience to look at. Outside of that, obviously you're in agriculture, which has done very well from the internal focus on the economy. You're in retailing, of course, with Detsky Mir, and paper and pulp. Which of these businesses do you think over the next 5 to 10 years has the most potential to grow quickly? Which are the real darlings?
Well, all 4 actually are darlings, the ones that you named. Retail, if we take Detsky as an example, we've had 37% year-on-year growth in this business. Pulp and paper, we had around 40% growth. In agriculture, this business did not exist 2 years ago, and this year it's going to deliver over 50 million of US dollars in EBITDA, and next year we're planning to double this. And this business, as I said, is growing double digit. So those are kind of the 4 horses that we're planning to ride in the next few years to really build up our portfolio besides MTS. And as you said correctly, MTS currently occupies around 60%, and even though MTS will maintain its marginality and its revenue and its EBITDA, I think those businesses will grow and will soon make MTS less than 50% and perhaps less than 40% by 2019.
The stock's done pretty well this year. I mean, you're up about 15% across the 12-month story. But you've not just been focusing on those businesses. I know that you have private equity funds that you invest into technology. And maybe those with a bit of medical knowledge will recognize that this may not be the latest and the smartest. So let's walk on through to your other X-ray room, which is connected. And we can have a look at the other X-ray facility here. And let me ask you, you've been investing in new technology startups here in Russia. How active is that market? I know some people have been concerned that it may not have done so well because of the sanctions regime. Are you finding exciting technology businesses here to put money into?
Yeah, we actually do. We started recently a fund called Systema Venture Capital. We invested around 2 billion rubles of cash. Plus 2 billion of other assets, and we attracted partners. So altogether we have a fund of around 10 billion rubles. And we're actually finding quite a significant number of high-quality startups that we're investing in. So far we invested in a leading player in facial recognition, for instance, which is a global trend. We invested in another company which does data mining and the big data transfer, which is very applicable to MTS and MTS Bank and some of our other activities. In fact, we actually find less investment demand for those kind of assets and less competition, which actually plays to our benefit because we are one of the efficient and good guys in this venture capital market with a big promise.
There will be Western investors who are willing to look a bit deeper and maybe want to go directly into the property market, either here in Moscow or across Russia. Again, it's been a hard market to be in as a result of the sanctions regimes. But one feels the banks are now a bit more liquid. There is money coming back. What do you think high-end and middle-level property is going to do in the Moscow market? And how active are you there?
Yeah. First of all, it really depends on how efficient you are and how good you are at what you're doing. And number two, I think the sanctions regime is very much overstated. If we take 100% issues that exist in the Russian economy, I think only 5% are sanctions related and 95% are non-sanctions related and related to reduction in the price of oil, which is a major contributor because the Russian economy was very much oil dependent and is now kind of restructuring itself to be less oil dependent. But in real estate, for instance, we have a company that builds apartments and it has around 40% EBITDA margin now with the demand that we currently have. So it very much depends which areas of the market you are focused on and how good you're doing. Overall, we are contributing in Systema around 20 to 25% return to our shareholders. So, you know, we can't say that we're doing badly, even in the current economic circumstances.
And I want to come back to the medical story while we're here. Yeah. And I just let the audience know, neither of us actually put ourselves on the machine for these X-rays. So these X-rays don't belong to us, just in case, as I say, you're a medical professional, you're looking closely. Don't email me and tell me there's a problem with my ankle. But one of the advantages, it seems to me, of investing in the consumer sector here is that the state will leave you alone. And also there are incentives. So if you invest alongside what the government wants to see grow, you can do well. So it's interesting that there is a tax advantage. Can you tell us a bit more about the tax opportunity that there is around being in the medical space and why that makes it a good place to be?
Well, a major tax advantage is that you're not paying profit tax if you invest in private medical business and 90% of your revenues are medical revenues and not other revenues, rental or otherwise. And that is, of course, a big contribution because we can use the profit to reinvest in building facilities like this. So yes, we're taking advantage of this preference for sure.
And as I understand it, you're also interested in the idea of expanding perhaps into medical hubs. But that is a little dependent on what foreign doctors or foreign specialists can actually come into the Russian market. Is it going to get any easier for those people to enter this marketplace?
Well, in fact, it's interesting you asked because there was a special piece of legislation adopted by the Duma last year to create a so-called Moscow medical cluster. And for this Moscow medical cluster, or medical hub, you call it, which is tied to a specific location near Skolkovo, it will be allowed to actually import foreign doctors without knowledge of Russian language. It will be allowed to use Western medicine and the medical practices without any alteration and without any special certification or recertification. So that's going to be an experiment, and we'll see how well it goes and how better it is than the existing practice, and then we'll take it from there.
So let's just wrap it up here and get to the bottom line. The share price up about 15-16% over the 12-month story. People are looking at the business and wondering if your growth rates are going to be strong into 2017. People are feeling a little bit more confident about the recovery at the macro level here. But are you concerned that there may be anything that jeopardizes the potential for you to grow more strongly next year? How optimistic are you feeling right now?
Well, right now the only major risks we see are kind of geopolitical risks, which are impossible to calculate because whatever is going to blow anywhere in the world, we simply don't know. And how is it going to affect international politics, ruble-dollar rates, borrowing rates, those kinds of things. That we cannot predict, and that we cannot really count for. So we keep it in mind, but we also set it aside. And as far as Russian economy is concerned, we're actually quite confident that we have a very good growth platform. Because after the ruble devaluation, we have competitive advantage in most our producing businesses like pulp and paper with a good export potential, and we have good growth potential and import substitution here in Russia, including, by the way, private medical care. Because people who used to take dollars and euros abroad to Germany and Switzerland, now it's twice as expensive. And here we have facility which is pretty much on par with any of the good things you can see in the West.
That's a critical message. Mr. Shamalin, thank you very much indeed for letting us wander through your medical facility here. And that is an important message, I think, as household incomes at the middle class level seem to be recovering. There is an appetite, particularly for healthcare and private healthcare. And one of the advantages, I guess, of this hospital over some others that you'll find in other jurisdictions in the West is that you can subscribe as a private patient, but you can also just walk in off the street and they will treat you for a cash payment, which again sort of changes the dynamic and raises the opportunity that you may have here in this sector. Well, I'm going to wrap it up from here. Thank you very much for joining me and Mr. Shamalin in his hospital. And of course, we'll be here till the end of the week. We're talking a bit more about Russia tomorrow as we try and give you an updated health check on the state of the economy. Back to you guys.
Jeff, thank you so much for that. I was hoping secretly that he was going to wear scrubs.
Oh, I was just hoping that we'd see those X-rays where they find an egg beater or like a cat or something left in the X-ray or inside somebody's body.
Didn't happen.
No.
You're probably hoping that I was going to lie down here and get an X-ray or something, right?
Yeah. You can
Forget
do that.
it. It's not happening.
It's not happening. Jeff, thank you so much for that. So what's coming up tomorrow?
We can arrange it. We can arrange it to happen.